Today I had a cake emergency. My mum called and said that she was coming over for tea. Tea here is code word for cake. I didn't have any cake and I didn't have time to go to the shop to buy cake. So I whipped up something really quick and simple that went down a treat. So let's get to it and see how to make it. Hi guys, I'm Nicola, food lover and impatient cook. Welcome to my channel where we like to explore easy, fast recipes to get dinner on the table as quickly as we can, while also saving money and just being healthier. So in today's video, we are making some cranberry and orange scones. Now, please don't be intimidated by scones. First of all, they're delicious and who doesn't love them? Secondly, they are so easy to bake. They are one of the first things I learned how to bake, and they look complicated, but they're actually really simple. Like I said earlier, tea here is code word for cake. Like, it is actually illegal in Ireland to serve tea with no food. I mean, you need a biscuit. As a minimum, you need a biscuit. But anyway, today we had homemade scones. So sit down, get comfortable, and grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee or your hot beverage of choice, and let's check out how to make some scones. Spoiler alert, they were delicious. So to start off, we're going to take a large bowl to which we are adding 350 grams of self-raising flour. Then we're going to add 50 grams of sugar. Now I'm sieving my sugar because it got damp. So it's got like little sugar lumps in it. So I'm just squeezing them all through to make sure that we don't have any lumps of sugar in our actual scones. Next, we are going to take an orange. So we're going to zest the orange. So when we're zesting the orange, you just want to make sure that you only get the actual outside of the skin, which has all the flavour and is lovely and sweet. You don't want to go down so that you're getting right into the pith, which is quite bitter. So just keep zesting it until we have all the orange in. So here I have 75 grams of room temperature butter. I've actually left this out of the fridge all day today. So I'm just ripping it up into little small pieces, just that's going to make it easier for me to work it in with the flour. Now that I have all the butter added to the flour, I'm actually going to rub it into the flour. So using the pads of my fingertips and my thumbs, I'm just rubbing the flour and the butter between my fingers just to mix them together. So now you can see that our flour and butter mixture actually looks a little bit different. So we've most of the butter rubbed into the flour now and it's starting to look like breadcrumbs. So this is when we know that it's ready for us to get to the next stage. Now we're ready to add our dried fruit. So today I'm adding some dried cranberries. I have about 70 grams. So I'm just going to sprinkle them in and then flick them through the flour and butter just to get them coated in flour so they don't sink. Now that we have all our dry ingredients mixed, it's time to add the milk. So I have half a pint of buttermilk, but you can use any milk at all. So just pour in about 3/4 of the milk and then mix with a fork until you get a nice soft dough. So sometimes you might need more milk, sometimes you might need less, but basically you want to be getting a soft, slightly wettish dough, but not as wet as I make it here. So you're going to see me in a moment add more milk, which was not needed, but you know, they still worked out, so never panic when you're baking. Now that our dough is ready, I'm just putting some flour on the counter so that the dough doesn't stick while I'm working with it. So I'm just taking it all out of the bowl and popping it onto the counter. Like I said, I really didn't need to add extra milk to my dough. It's a bit too wet, but I'm just going to throw a bit of flour on top of it and it will be fine. It's baking, it's not the end of the world. So what I'm doing now is just shaping it into a little circle. It's about 1 inch thick. I don't actually use a rolling pin on scones because I don't think they need it. I just kind of smash it out with my hands. So I have a baking tray that I'm just sprinkling with some flour so the scones don't stick to it, and I have preheated my oven to 200 degrees Celsius. And it's really important to preheat your oven before you start because your oven has to be piping hot for scones. So then I'm taking my little scone cutter and I'm going to keep dipping it in flour so that it doesn't stick. And I'm just going to cut out our scones. So the important thing to remember with scones is you want to go straight down and straight back up. Try not to twist the cutter as you're cutting because that means that the scone actually will be sealed and it can't rise evenly. So straight down, straight up, and drop it on the tray. So I'm just going to repeat that process with all of the scones until my dough is gone. Keep flouring my cutter straight down, straight up, and drop it on the tray. So when you run out of dough that you can cut into a little scone, you're going to take your dough and just kind of work it back into a ball and then back into a disc again. But try to be as gentle as you can. Here I was clearly not being gentle. So I added a little bit more flour to my countertop because some of my scones did stick. So I just work it back into a little round and then I repeat the process and I just keep cutting scones until I run out of dough. So once we have all the scones cut, it's time to put an egg wash. So I'm just cracking an egg into the jug that has the last of the little bit of milk left in it, and then I'm going to paint it on to the top of each scone. So this is going to help them to get really golden brown and shiny in the oven. So again, we don't want to get any egg dripping down the sides of the scone because that might seal them and make them rise unevenly. Just try and get your egg wash only on the top and keep going till you have all 12 scones nicely painted. And here they all are, ready to go into the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. So I usually set my timer for 12 minutes and check them then. So they're done when they are light and sound hollow and are a beautiful golden brown. Now our scones have risen and they're a lovely golden brown. So I'm just going to take them off their cookie tray. This guy's a little bit flat and pathetic, but he'll be fine. He'll get eaten. Going to leave them there to cool and we will have them later with tea. So because I was feeling extra and because it's really nice to have someone in the house, I went overboard and I set the table. I got out the nice china, buttered the scones, put on some raspberry jam and some whipped cream, and they were delicious. So there you have it, guys. Sorry, can we just pause to appreciate my Christmas tree in the background? That thing has a serious amount of lights and I'm covered in scratches and bruises from fluffing all the branches yesterday, but it's totally worth it. Sorry, back on point. I guess I should show you the scones. Whoa, they're gonna fall off the plate. So this is them. They look delicious, don't they? Here is our finished product. Look at that. Doesn't it look good? So we have jam, cream, butter, all the delicious things. Oh my god, it's so good. Oh wow. That's ridiculous. God, I surprise myself sometimes. Wow. That is the easiest scone recipe in the world. You can vary the flavourings any way you can. I like them plain or with cherries. You can do blueberry and lemon. Can I recommend chocolate chip? Coconut is lovely in them. Almond and pear. Is it almond or almond? Almond or almond? I think it's almond. Either here or here I will have a link for my previous recipe, which was a really quick baked apple pie oats. Delicious breakfast, also a nice afternoon snack, but takes a little bit longer than scones. So thank you so much for joining me today and stay tuned for another bite.